Just when the finish line is in sight, someone calls your name. Another request, another demand, another expectation that isn't yours. But now, somehow, it is. It could be your family, your friends, even complete strangers. They all have one thing in common: they're draining you. Not just your time, not just your energy. They're draining your soul. And you don't even notice it until you start to sink. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever felt like everyone's go-to, the one people count on, lean on, ask for help again and again? And while you're holding everyone else up, you're slowly slipping under the weight of it all. If that feels familiar, this video is for you. Because what we're talking about today isn't just exhaustion. It's not just stress. It's a slow erosion of your inner peace. It's soul drain, and it's happening silently, invisibly. And here's the truth. No one tells you you weren't born to carry everyone's burdens. You weren't meant to live a life of endless compromise. You weren't put here to please, just to survive. You were meant for something deeper, a life of clarity, freedom, and quiet power. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So today, we're going to uncover 5 things you should never let others take from you. These aren't just things that waste your time. They wear you down from the inside. And unless you see them clearly, you'll keep giving them away without even knowing it. Let's begin. Have you ever said yes to something and then immediately felt a knot in your stomach? You didn't want to do it. You weren't supposed to do it. But now, somehow, it's your responsibility. It usually starts small. A quick favor. A family member needs help with something urgent. A co-worker's behind on a deadline. A friend asks you to step in just for today. And because you're reliable, because you care, because you've always been the one who holds it all together, you say yes. But that one yes becomes 5. 5 becomes 15. And before you know it, you're the one carrying the entire weight while everyone else walks freely beside you. I've been there. Once, a relative asked me to help organize a surprise birthday party. I figured I'd help with a few things, maybe suggest a theme or pick up a gift. But that's not how it went. I ended up booking the venue, planning the food, managing the guest list, even writing the speech. Meanwhile, my relative barely lifted a finger but took all the credit. And when I finally told them I felt overwhelmed, they brushed it off. It's just one day. You're being too sensitive. That was the moment it clicked. Helping others doesn't mean abandoning yourself. I wasn't put on this earth to manage everyone else's lives, and neither were you. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That includes the guilt people try to hand you, the pressure, the labels. And speaking of labels, have you ever noticed how quickly people label you? You're the strong one. You're so good at handling things. Sounds like a compliment. But what it really does is trap you in a role you never asked for. So, here's a Stoic truth. Delegation is not weakness. It's precision. Knowing what to carry and what to leave behind is emotional intelligence. Call it the Stoic detachment formula. Ask, is this truly mine to carry? If the answer is no, release it. If the answer is yes, carry it with clarity, not resentment. You don't have to explain. You don't have to apologize. Because every time you say no to something that doesn't belong to you, you're saying yes to your peace, your focus, and your mental freedom. And that's not selfish. That's self-respect. Imagine this. You're finally having a calm morning. A hot cup of coffee. A little peace. Then your phone rings. It's someone you know. They sound stressed. They need help. Just a little money. Just this once. You say yes. Because you care. Because you don't want to seem cold or selfish. That's exactly what happened to my friend David. He was always the one people called when they needed money. It started with a small loan for a car repair, then another call, another favor, another bill. He kept helping until it became a pattern. And here's the truth, he didn't just lose money. He lost peace of mind. He told me every time his phone rang, he felt anxious. Not because of the money, but because he felt trapped. He wanted to say no, but didn't know how. And the worst part, most of them never paid him back. Some didn't even say thank you. That's what happens when giving becomes a habit out of guilt. You give because you're afraid of letting people down. But deep down, you start feeling bitter, used, exhausted. That's not kindness. That's self-damage. Here's what the Stoics would say: your peace matters more than someone else's comfort. Epictetus once said, wealth isn't about having more. It's about needing less. And I'll add this, it's also about protecting what's already yours. So, how do you say no kindly, but clearly use the 3P rule polite? I care about you, but I can't help with that right now. Precise. I'm focusing on my own financial responsibilities. Protective. I've learned that saying yes to too much hurts both sides. It's okay to set limits. It doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise. Because if someone only values you when you're giving them money, that's not love. That's dependence. So next time someone asks you for money, ask yourself this: if I were the one in trouble, would they help me back? If the answer is no, then you don't owe them a yes. You are not a bank. You're a human being. Protect your finances. Protect your peace. Family is supposed to feel safe, supportive, like a place to rest. But sometimes it becomes the opposite, a battlefield full of old grudges, power plays, and emotional traps. And too often, you get pulled right into the middle of it. It starts with a phone call. You need to talk to your brother. Can you convince Mom to apologize? I just want you to explain my side. Suddenly, you're not a family member. You're the referee. I've been there. One time, my uncle called me in the middle of the day, begging me to talk to another uncle about a property dispute. I wasn't involved. I hadn't even heard the full story. But I felt pressured. So I said yes. What happened? No one was satisfied. One said I was taking sides. The other said I was too soft. By the end, I was drained, angry, confused, and more distant from both. That's what I call emotional referee syndrome. You think you're keeping the peace, but really, you're just getting hit from both sides. The Stoics had a better way. They believed in this mindset. Observe without absorbing. In other words, you can care. You can listen, but you don't have to jump in. You're allowed to protect your peace. Here's how to handle it. Step by step. Listen. Hear them out calmly. Pause. Don't react emotionally. Decline. Say, "This isn't something I should get involved in." Withdraw gracefully. Step back without guilt or explanation. You don't owe anyone your emotional energy, especially for a fight that isn't yours. Some people won't like your boundaries. They'll call you cold or selfish. But protecting your mental health is not a betrayal. It's wisdom. So the next time someone tries to drag you into drama, ask yourself, is this really my battle? Or just their emotional baggage? Because peace isn't found by solving everyone's problems. It's found by knowing which problems are not yours to fix. Have you ever changed something about yourself, not because you wanted to, but because someone else thought you should? Maybe it was the way you dressed, the way you spoke, or how you lived your life. At first, it seems harmless. You want to make others happy. You want to fit in. But over time, something subtle happens. You stop recognizing the person in the mirror. That's exactly what happened to Linda. She's a proud, kind-hearted woman in her 50s, loves her simple routines, keeps life quiet and meaningful. But when her daughter started a fast-paced career in tech, Linda started hearing little comments. "Mom, you should try this app. Everyone's on social media these days. You'd be more relatable if you dressed a bit younger." So, Linda tried. She downloaded apps. She changed her clothes. She even made a few awkward videos online. Not because she wanted to, but because she didn't want to disappoint her daughter. But the more she changed, the more exhausted she felt. And slowly, her confidence started to fade. That's what happens when you shapeshift for approval. You lose your center. You trade peace for acceptance. And here's the truth. Approval is addictive. But authenticity, that's powerful. People will always have opinions. They'll project their standards, their expectations, even their insecurities onto you. But as Marcus Aurelius said, be tolerant with others. Strict with yourself. In other words, be kind, but don't bend. Especially in today's world where social media constantly pressures us to upgrade who we are, you have to stand guard at the gate of your identity. So here's the test. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's true to me? Or because I'm afraid of being left out? And if the answer makes you pause, that's your answer. Don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Don't edit your life for more likes. Don't wear a mask just to be accepted. The people who truly love you will love the real you, not the version you created to be easier to digest. So stay solid in who you are. That's not rebellion. That's inner freedom. How many times have you set aside something you loved just to make someone else happy? You skipped the gym, cancelled your weekend plans, put down your favorite book just because someone needed you, or worse, expected you. At first, it feels noble. You're being helpful. You're being a good friend, a good partner, a good person. That's exactly what Mark believed. He was always there for people. If his brother needed help with his car, he dropped everything. If a coworker needed help finishing a project, he stayed late. If a friend needed emotional support, he was all ears. But little by little, Mark's own life started to disappear. He missed gym sessions, turned down game nights, skipped things that used to make him feel alive. And over time, something changed. People expected him to always say yes. No one asked if he had time. No one checked in on his happiness. He wasn't just tired. He felt invisible. And maybe you've felt that too, like your own joy is always negotiable, like it can wait, like it doesn't matter as much as everyone else's needs. Here's the truth. You are not a supporting character in someone else's life. This isn't their movie. It's yours. And joy is not something you fit in after everything else. It has to be scheduled, protected, and respected. So here's what I recommend. Create joy slots. Block off time on your calendar for the things that bring you peace, energy, and fulfillment, and treat them like real appointments. You wouldn't cancel a doctor's visit for no reason. So don't cancel your joy either. Then, once a week, do a boundary check. Ask yourself, where did I say yes but wanted to say no? What brought me energy and what drained it? Am I living this week for others, or also for me? And if something feels out of balance, adjust it. Not next month. This week, today. The Stoics taught us that happiness isn't selfish. It's the result of living in alignment with your own values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man is happy when he lives in harmony with himself." You don't owe anyone your time if it costs you your soul. So protect it. Not with walls, but with priorities. Because when you make space for your own joy, you show up better for others too, from a place of fullness, not fatigue. So, let's pause for a moment. Think about what we've just uncovered, the 5 silent forces that slowly drain your soul. Responsibility that was never yours. Financial freedom traded for guilt. Emotional independence lost to family conflict. Identity reshaped just to be accepted. Joy sacrificed to make everyone else comfortable. If you're feeling tired all the time mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's probably not because you're weak. It's because you've been giving away what was never meant to be shared. And here's the truth. No one says out loud, it's not them who drained you. It's the open gate you left unlocked. The good news. You can close it today. One choice at a time. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You just need to decide moment by moment what you'll allow in and what you'll protect. Start by asking, does this weight belong to me? Does this request honor my peace? Does this version of me feel true? And if the answer is no, you don't need to carry it. You don't need to explain. You simply let it go. Because reclaiming your soul doesn't require anyone's permission, only your decision. Now it's your turn. Look back at the 5 soul drains we talked about: the responsibilities, the money, the emotional pressure, the masks, the lost joy. Which one are you ready to reclaim? Drop it in the comments below. Which soul drain are you closing today? Not for me, not for the algorithm, but for you, for your peace, for your clarity, for your return to self. And if this video stirred something in you, if it made you think, pause it, or feel just a little more awake, subscribe for more Stoic insights every week. This journey is just beginning. In fact, your next step is right here, the quiet power of setting boundaries without explanation. Click it. Watch it next. It'll sharpen what we just started. And remember, your soul is not theirs to take. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does.